Welcome everyone to another episode of Talking Sam. I am your host, Sam Macias, and with me today, all the way across the world, we're going international with this episode. It is the one, it is the only, We Last Reacts, hailing all the way from Scotland,
Hey
Moscow.
everybody!
How's it going,
Sorry, I came in
Moscow?
very premature there. Hi!
Oh
Yeah, I
no,
was
no,
just
no.
excited.
Oh no, you're fine. I took the pause way too long right there. I was building you up, and you just saw the opportunity, and just took it. I don't
I was
blame
like,
you for that
hi,
at all.
hi!
How's it going, Moscow? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing really well. How have you been?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for having me. I think I'm going to enjoy this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, we're gonna be. This is nothing but a fun conversation you and me are gonna have. We talked to some of your fellow compatriots in the world of YouTube, and they have nothing but great things to say about you, and I'm sure you have nothing but for them as well.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I could be really nasty and say awful. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. They're too nice. I couldn't say anything bad about them. They're precious little nuggets.
that is true. I will agree with you on that. They are some sweet individuals. We're obviously talking about Elijah, the not so average fangirl, and Morgan Terry, two amazing people. If you guys want to check out my interview with them, go over to my YouTube channel at Sam Macias. You can watch the whole length over there. But
Highly recommend.
there you go. Recommended right there. Internationally recommend my ass. My ad. Now, I want to put in some context. You are in Scotland right now, correct, Moscow?
I am, yes, currently sitting in Scotland. It is 6 p.m. at night, and right now in Scotland, the sun doesn't seem to want to set until like midnight. It's ridiculous.
Interesting. Okay, kind of
Oh.
sounds like Alaska over here.
Yeah, I think we're quite far north. I don't think we go as bad as Alaska, but we have moments. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. And all right, so let's get started. When was kind of like your first introduction into the space of YouTube? Did you follow anyone before that? Were you always a kind of a video vlogger before then, doing other stuff? What was kind of your introduction into it?
That's a good question. I think I was around on YouTube when YouTube first started. So it was definitely the year that YouTube came out that I got involved. And it started off just watching videos, and I was always fascinated by like the AMV style videos. So like
Hmm.
people editing like Lion King to Linkin Park and all of that kind of stuff. And
Okay.
then I remember being like, I want to make videos just like that. And after getting inspired by some of them, I was like, I started learning about things like LimeWire and the dodgy websites that you used to use to pirate content and things. So,
Yeah. Good
my
old LimeWire.
yeah, yeah, and back in the day as well, you had Magic DVD Ripper, which you would sign up for a free trial to rip all your DVDs, so you could use that as well. So that
Oh
was another
wow.
one. But yeah, we used to do that. That was how I learned to edit. It was on Windows Movie Maker back in the day. So that was like what 2005, 2006. I started editing videos on YouTube, and then I came away from it for a little while when I was studying at high school and college and things, and then I came back to it a few years later to try my hand at vlogging, and that was when I started up with my Wee Scottish Lass channel. And that I grew to about 80,000 subscribers, and then I just wasn't loving it that much anymore and took a break and then swapped content over to reaction content, which has always been my favourite stuff to consume. So, yeah.
Nice. Now, before getting into your first YouTube channel you created, did you when you went to school out there, were you studying to be a kind of like a director? Because you were shooting a lot of vlogs, like you said. Were you going to school for filmmaking or anything creative on your side when you were first playing
So
out?
I did 2 years. So when I was 17 years old, I did 2 years of biomedical sciences at university.
Oh
And
wow.
then was like, this isn't really for me. I was too young at that time. Like, I still firmly believe you're too young at that age to, like, I mean, not for everybody, but some people can stomach it. But I was just not in the right frame of mind to be doing further education at that time, and
Hmm.
dropped out, and then worked for a couple of years, and then went back to college and did a HND in creative media and television. And that was where like I was learning all about cameras and lighting and direction and all that fun stuff. I already knew how to edit, but that was where I learned, more in-depth editing techniques, and yeah, and then from there, that was when I started that first channel, that the wee Scottish last one.
Now, on your first channel, you had a variety of videos on there, whether it came from life in Scotland, you're doing the top 10 video, expressing your thoughts on a topic, etc. What was kind of like your thought process on making a video? Because it was never very a consistent form. It was very different from one to another.
Yeah,
What was
so I
kind of
think
like your sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. I was just going to say, I think in the beginning it was just kind of like trial and error. I uploaded a couple of things. I think I had like a top 10 favorite Pokemon and still, like, I had bizarre ones, but then I eventually settled on the Scottish topic. So every video was usually in relation to Scotland or a Scottish person's opinion on other worldly things.
Hmm.
So I think that was eventually, after maybe a year of kind of blundering through it, kind of settled onto that Scottish topic. And that came from the fact that I realised that there was a bit of a gap in the market for Americans in particular who were obsessed with Scotland, and providing them with, like, Scottish slang and all that kind of jazz. So that was what I went after.
And speaking on that, did you feel like when you were starting your first channel, you have to be more open with your country and its background, when it's certain how you say certain words on your certain delicacies or anything like that? Did you feel like, hey, there is an untapped market that us Americans don't even know about in Scotland? Do you feel like if you can tap into that, you can really, bam, hit the ground running on your channel?
Yeah, I think there were definitely some things I had to be mindful of and stay clear of. I noticed that I was attracting a very particular type of American audience.
Mm.
Unfortunately for me, I was attracting a lot of uh, older, very white uh, leaning, gun wielding, kind of Texan-y kind of vibing sort of audience, and
Oh.
I was a bit like, this isn't really the audience that I want to be attracting. I don't know how I got to that side of YouTube, but that, like, I definitely noticed anytime I put up a video that was like, I'd make a joke about Trump or something, or the, like, expressing my, like, why are guns so important and views like that those videos would just get absolutely hammered with dislikes and loads of comments, and I'd lose a lot of subscribers from them. So I definitely know that that was where my audience was, and I wasn't massively happy with it. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm sorry, what was the original question? I feel like I've gone off on a whole fucking tangerine there.
No, you're good. You're good. Just the original question was just, did you feel like you had to be more open and more inviting to your country and its cultures with Scotland? Because a lot of us Americans don't know uh, a lot about Scotland, whether it comes to how you say certain words, how you do certain things, your delicacies, or even your everyday life in Scotland and average day's life in Scotland. Because someone's average day life in Maine and Portugal may be different, and seeing someone else's perspective in another country may be appealing to them.
Yeah, I think yeah, I never needed to be too delicate about the Scottish topics because Scottish people are very, very, very difficult to offend. You either
Mm-hmm.
you call us English and that'll offend us, or you like mispronounce Edinburgh as Edinburgh, and that annoys us. But other than that, like, it's very hard to offend a Scottish person. It really is. So I never had to worry too much about that. But yeah, there was a lot of explaining and things I had to do for Americans. Mostly just every now and again, I'd have little wind up videos of, like, Americans pronouncing Edinburgh that way instead of Edinburgh, or Glasgow instead of Glasgow. And but yeah, no, I never had to worry about, like, dancing around a particular topic in Scotland because Scottish people just don't care. Like, we're so laid back, we're horizontal.
And that's awesome here. It sounds like the Scottish people and Australians are very similar and that
Oh
sort of things. Like,
yeah.
you guys don't care. We're just a bunch of dumb Americans. What do we know?
But also in our use of the word, the C word, which I will not say because, yeah, but like,
we know the C word, but I've seen your videos and I know
yeah,
exactly what you mean.
yeah, we use it different. Like, I can't believe that it's, like, such an offensive term in America. It's like one of the worst words you can use, but over here it's a term of endearment. you know, it's just
Yeah.
different.
Oh yeah, and that is so interesting. When you were first discovering, like going into YouTube, was it kind of weird, try, learning how, well, in your country, one like you said, that certain word is a term of endearment, while over here stateside, as like the worst thing to say to someone. When you were first starting off at that, was it kind of like an eye opening thing too?
Yeah, I think as well, we're like, and I think this is where the Australians and the Scottish people kind of have it right, is that there's actually a lot of misogyny hidden behind that word and why it's like not used, and why that word is like not as open as like some words that you would maybe use for other genitalia, shall we say. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
like really polite and respectful here, but there is like there's a deep misogyny hidden behind that.
Hmm.
And so we just shatter that down in Scotland and Australia and stuff. So I do like that surprised me. That side of it definitely surprised me. How there's like some words of some genitalia are accepted, but other words for other is not. And the hidden roots behind like, well, you can't speak about this particular type of genitalia, but you can speak about this one quite openly. And it's, yeah, it was interesting.
Oh yeah, it's we're a fun bunch over here. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, these are great to take to parties.
Oh yeah, trust me. And it's also funny you mentioned that we have. I don't know if you're familiar with a show called The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but I have heard of
Okay, so there's a particular character who uses that word almost
it.
every single episode, almost every single sentence he can.
Love it.
It's for those who I'm talking about, it's Carl Urban's character Billy Butcher, who, oh god, he is so amazing in that show. I think you will love it. It's so great.
Aw.
Um, oh, sorry. Go
It's
ahead.
it's one of those ones that I've been recommended a bunch, but I've never sat down to watch. I've heard it's quite like brutal and quite bloody.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Very, it's pretty gory. Season three
Hmm.
gets really gory. Not
Yeah,
to
if
say
it's
season, yeah, not to say season three overlaps two or one, because season one starts off with some gore, but it really amps it up in season three. But and I could imagine it's hard for YouTubers to react to it on their channels. But yeah,
yeah.
if you ever get a chance, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. If it's gore for the sake of gore, then I'm not. I tend not to like things like that. But if it's gore with purpose, like a lot of Game of Thrones' gore was kind of with purpose, then it's like, okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's very much with purpose. Sometimes it's for gore, sometimes, but there's a lot to purpose, I would
Okay.
say.
Okay.
Because of the world that they're in and they establish, it will make sense for
Okay.
the gore that they've established in.
Oh, see, I'll add it to my ever-growing, massively long list.
I bet that's a long list.
It's ridiculously long. I just don't have time for anything. I only recently got round to finally watching Wednesday as well.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Now, another appealing aspect that you have yourself that I think draws so many people towards you and your channel is you're very unapologetic with your thoughts, as we were just talking about. Um, with your thoughts in your videos, whether it's to a reaction or a certain reference of in pop culture in a show, or even dealing with real life experiences or situations. Did you ever feel like you had to reel yourself in at times after making a video for the next one, or did you feel having to be 100% authentic with yourself, your thoughts, and your feelings is more, it outweighs what other people will be saying on the comment sections?
I think both of them, yeah, both are true. I tend to, if you come hard at me in my comments over something that I've upset you about,
Hmm.
then I'm probably just gonna wind up even more in the next video. Like that's kind of my brand. So I did get that with Mabel's character in Gravity Falls, where people were like constantly commenting, defending her, and because I openly express that I'm not a Mabel fan. Um, and yet people would constantly like say, try and stand up for her. And so I found that in the next few episodes I was just even worse with her character than I normally would have been had those
Hmm.
comments not existed to defend her in the first place. So a little of that. However, when it came to Vox Machina, With Scanlan, I did reel myself in slightly with him, mostly because he's an older character, I was giving him
Right.
death threats. And I was like really wanting him to die as a character, and I felt like maybe I should rein that back slightly.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I reined that back in.
I gotta say, Vox Machina is one of the best shows. When I was watching your reactions to it, I was like, God, this girl gets it. This is such a great thing to watch. And that's another thing about like you and all the other reactors out there. It's fun to watch a show while it happens, but then going back to kind of watching it with someone in a
Mm-hmm.
sense and getting their reaction, it kind of adds to the commentary, adds to the experience to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally get it. Yeah.
Now, when you decided to launch your second channel, Relast Reacts,
Yep.
was there any trepidation when you were beginning that? Because you already have established a fan and subscriber base for your first channel. Did you think, maybe I should just stick with it? Because, like you said, you reached over 80,000 subscribers. Did you think to just put your reactions on here and just migrate it into just a reaction channel? Or did you feel you had to kind of start over from scratch, kind of do kind of step one, plan zero, build it from ground up again, just for your benefit and to keep both channels differentiate from one another?
Yeah, so this is where having really good knowledge of how YouTube works came in super handy for this, because
Mm-hmm.
the advice came from Sean Vlogs, who's another Scottish YouTuber, and he does amazing content about like traveling in America and his Scottish views on all of that kind of stuff. I highly recommend his channel. Shout out to you, Sean. But I was speaking to him about I was finished with my old channel. Like my old channel was done. I didn't want to keep doing it anymore. And this came not long after my brother passed away, where I realized life is too short to be doing something that I'm not enjoying. And I wasn't enjoying that content anymore. So I was like, right, I want to integrate into reaction content. That's where my passion has always been. And you can see that throughout my old channel. I had like a video of like Scottish people reacting to Has-Been Hotel and like all these videos that I did back in the day of like small little reaction things to see how they go. But they didn't do that well on that channel because of the fact that it wasn't a reaction channel. And the way YouTube's algorithm works is like if you've got an audience of like, let's say you've got 10,000 subscribers, you put out a video and YouTube sends it out to a portion of your audience. Like they get to see it in their browsing and stuff and on their homepage. If they don't click on that, if that doesn't appeal to them, then that comes back in your metrics and YouTube sees it as not a good video, so it will not then further promote it. So
Mm,
effectively, if you've got an audience and you're trying to put out different content than what that audience would normally expect from your channel or watch, you're just killing that content. It's not even going to get a chance. And that's where a lot of the YouTube experts say, like, your channel should be bespoke and specific to a topic. If you want to do anything else or differentiate from that, you best to start a second channel. So if you think about your audience that you've got and you think, right, I'm going to put out this video, you have to think about, will most of that audience click on this video? If the answer is no, then it's not for that channel and you should be doing a different channel for it. If it's like a one-off and you're happy with the fact that like that content's just going to fail, then that's fine. But yeah, I knew for a fact that through speaking with Sean, that if I tried to start dumping reaction content onto this channel, it would take so much longer to turn the metrics of that channel around than it would be
mm,
start a brand new channel from scratch. And while I would still have the number there of 80,000, if you ask any YouTube expert at the moment, subscribers are not important. Subscriber numbers mean nothing to the
really?
algorithm. It
Okay.
is views, clicks, and how long the duration of your videos is watched. That is the most important aspect of your channel and its growth. And so yeah, so that's like what I'd been learning. So I was like, as soon as I learned that, I was like, that's fine, because I don't want to try and migrate that old audience over to new content. I'd rather just start from scratch. So I was like, I did my research. I sat down, I did research for like a month into reaction content and different channels and how they were doing it, how they were editing it, and that kind of thing. And then I launched my channel.
Wow, that's very interesting, and that's also another kind of an eye-opening thing you mentioned right now. Subscribers aren't exactly what YouTube sees. It's the amount of clicks a video gets. It's the amount of likes. It's the amount of views. Why do you think the subscriber count is not as important?
Because that's not where you make your money. It doesn't matter how many
Okay.
subscribers you've got. If they are not engaged in your content, if they are not watching your content, then they're just a number. sitting there. The only thing that that helps with is companies that want to then promote on your channel. They might look at subscriber numbers, but even they are smart enough to look at how many subscribers you've got and how many average views your videos get. How engaged is your audience per the number of subscribers that you have? That will actually impact whether or not they reach out to you for a brand deal too. But that's literally the only thing that matters. Like, you don't get paid for that subscriber. YouTube doesn't pay for the subscriber, they pay for the views. So the views are where YouTube make their money, and the views are where you make your money. So that's why the views are much more important. If you watch like any of these sort of channels, and try to think of some off the top of my head, but there's all these like channels all about like how you start on YouTube, how you grow. Like, all these channels will tell you subscribers mean nothing, it's the views that count. And the
Okay.
quality of that view as well.
Wow, I'm learning a lot. Thank you for this very important tech talk you just gave
You're
us right now.
welcome. You're welcome. This is all stuff I've learned over years and years of making loads of mistakes on YouTube.
Now, as you say, you've learned so much, you throughout the years. What was kind of the eye opener that kind of hit you, smacked you in the face when starting off in YouTube and progressing throughout the years?
I have a big one that
Oh.
really get my old channel back. And this is like a mistake that I made that I hope loads of other people can learn from
Hmm.
when it comes to YouTube, is beware linking to other websites. So I
Uh,
had a video that started popping off massively. Like YouTube picked it up, and I was getting like, this is on my old channel, and I was getting like three, like 4, 5, 600 subscribers a day because this one video started to go viral. I think it's got like over 1 million views at the moment, and it's like things that Scottish people can't say or something. And YouTube just decided, it was like a year later, they just picked the video up and went, let's start pushing this one out. I don't know how it happened, but what I did was I made the mistake of going onto that video and pushing people to like a competition that I was having on a different website. And so like I'd put in a link to a different website. So that other website could be like Twitter or Amazon or Instagram. It doesn't matter what the other website is. YouTube only saw people coming into that video in droves, clicking a link and exiting their website. So they instantly blacked that video out, and its views just plummeted because they were like, we're seeing people leaving our website from clicking on this video. So it like effectively blacklisted it. And so there's no quicker way to make a video die than to encourage people to click away from YouTube in it. One of the good ways to try and encourage people to click on something is to open in another tab. So rather than clicking a link and leaving YouTube entirely, they're like right click and opening another tab, and it shouldn't impact the metrics as badly as them coming in and instantly leaving.
wow, that is very interesting. That they're very sensitive about how
Oh
many
yeah.
people are on the website itself currently.
They want to keep people on their website because that's how they make money. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, the algorithm wants people to stay on the video, to watch it really like a long time. They want people to go from your video to other videos. And if people go from your video to other videos of yours, that also looks really good for that video too. Like, they take that into consideration. Are people finding your content and then clicking on more of your content, or are people finding your content and clicking away on other channels? It's fascinating how the YouTube algorithm works.
No, definitely. That is very fascinating, eye opening. Um, especially for me starting off in this, I now have to make sure when I make the video for YouTube not to put any links in this for future references.
You can still put links in. I think there's a difference between like really drawing people's attention away, like adamant that they click on something, versus like,
Mhm.
hey, it'd be really cool if you check this out, things like that. So it's how you land the message too. But yeah, it is something to just be mindful of. If you can keep them on YouTube, do
Right.
that. Like, for example, if you're having a competition and you want to have like the list of instructions rather than having it all in the video description, you could link to a community post of yours instead, rather than linking out to like a Facebook post or something.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you very much for that insight.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Absolutely. Are you planning to kind of restart your first channel, or is it kind of, I don't want to say dead because you never know, you might get that creative itch to do a vlog version on your channel, or to do kind of one of your throwback videos or anything. Are you planning to maybe go back, or is it essentially, that's in the past, I don't need to go back to it?
It would only be as a secondary channel now. Like if I was going traveling or something and I was filming little vlogs as I was traveling,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff I could see myself putting up on that channel, and that would literally just be for my granny.
Okay.
Because she is obsessed with my YouTube channels and she can't really leave the house. So
Okay.
if I was going out and filming stuff, that content would not I would not put that anywhere near my reaction channel because it would just die. It wouldn't do well and it could impact my channel badly as well. So I would put that onto that channel. That it would become like a secondary channel for me.
Okay. And honestly, that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of logical sense. Why why you would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in your second channel. You're in the reaction space. You start off with Stranger Things. Did you were you was Stranger Things your first show you wanted to do, or was that recommended by others that you knew of?
That was the first show that I wanted to do. And just because at that point it was current, I knew that whatever I was going to be reacting to, it would be best to be a current thing if I
Hmm.
wanted to get the maximum amount of growth. Thinking back on it, not the best decision because ultimately I was like, I don't even want to do live action stuff. I really want to do cartoons. At the time, I thought my channel would be both. I thought I'll do live action and do cartoons. But when I saw how long it took to edit those Stranger Things episodes versus a 20-minute
Uh,
long Gravity Falls episode, I was like, oh, I definitely can't do this until. But I have still got plans to like continue to do live action stuff, but like a good YouTuber, I will open up a second channel
mhm.
to do my live action stuff on. I wouldn't do it on this current one. But that would be in the future when I go full time with YouTube. I could see myself doing that and then doing things like Stranger Things, the final season, maybe Wednesday season 2, The Last of Us, things like that would probably then start dropping on that.
And that's another show that I highly recommend as well. Just letting you know now.
Really, I hadn't heard you talking about it to both Elijah and Morgan. I was waiting, I was counting down the minutes for you to bring it up on here.
I mean, I'm just saying it has. I don't never played the game, but it's one of the best shows out there.
I've
And
been
I'm
hearing
like,
really good things. It's very high up on my list to watch. That one, it is very high up on that list.
and I'll say this now: episode 3, greatest show, greatest episode of television all time, hands down.
Yeah, you're not the only person who said that. A few people that I work with. So I work for an entertainment company, funnily enough, that produces and creates its own content here in the UK as well.
Okay, nice.
And they bought exclusively the rights to The Last of Us. Probably just giving away which company I work for there, but anyway,
Ooh,
they like everybody at work was talking about it, and everybody said the same thing about episode 3.
yeah. It's again. I never played the game. I was familiar with the characters going in, but now like the whole story itself. So just watching it from beginning to end, it was God amazing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, you mentioned a little bit ago how struggling it is doing a live action show for the channel, just
mm-hmm.
with the hours it took or the time it takes to edit it. And you mentioned how you want to create another channel for that, for only live action. Is there a fear of kind of spreading yourself too thin when you're making so many YouTube channels, or is that a challenge you embrace? Is that something you strive to challenge yourself to be like, no, I know I can do that and I can kick ass in doing that?
So I already can hear probably Morgan and Elijah shouting at me like you like stop it, you're taking on too much. But I wouldn't do that until I could go full time with YouTube. Only then would I actually take it on. But Elijah does like loads of stuff. She's reacting to so
Yeah.
many series at the same time, and she does this full time as well. But I think for me the difference would be that other channel would not be putting out 3 videos a week. Absolutely not. No way in hell would it be putting out 3 videos a week. That would be my cartoon channel, this channel. But I
Right.
think for the other channel, I put out 1 or 2 videos a week maximum. And that's how I would probably kind of keep it going. If and when I come to do it. But also as well, I've got an editor who I pay on occasion to do videos for me, and maybe that channel would start taking off a bit more once I go full time, and I'm then able to start paying her again to take on videos too, because then I would have like a part time editor as well as me full time, and that feels reasonable.
Okay. Nice. Um, there's one thing I was remembering talking with Morgan about how when you were watching a show, you don't. Well, some shows gets the certain views and clicks, like we talked about, gets the attention. Other shows doesn't. When you're doing a reaction video and you see one show is just killing it, getting bringing in views, bringing the people. Another show is really not doing that so well. Do you feel like maybe you abandon that show and kind of maybe start off a new one to see if that will bring people in, or do you kind of stick out with the current show you're with right now?
So that's a really good question for me. I mean, I'm still really quite new to this world. I've
Hmm.
only been doing it. I've not even been doing it a year at this point. I'm still under a year old. But I think for me, it would depend on how long that show was. If I started doing a show and it was not doing well and it had 5 seasons, I would seriously consider only putting out one episode every now and again, like dropping it to like one episode every 2 weeks or something, just so I could tick it by,
Okay.
um, or abandoning it. But because I've only experienced that with two shows, which was Vox Machina and Murder Drones, right now for me is not performing that well. Murder
Mm.
Drones only has 4 episodes, so like it's
True.
not that big of a deal, you know. I would just keep going with it. And Vox Machina, I picked up from season 2, and it was only 12 episodes as well. So it was like, well, you know, I would just stick it. Plus, I really enjoyed Vox Machina. So for me, it was not a chore at all. Even if the videos didn't do particularly well, I was
Right.
really enjoying them.
Right. And do you feel like some of these indie animations that we have, like Murder Drones, Hell of a Boss, say the views aren't doing so well, but they have been spread out so much in between. Do you feel like,
Hmm.
okay, if this one doesn't perform well, hopefully the second one can, months down the line? Is that kind of a benefit for those indie
Yeah,
animation?
agreed. Yeah, that's exactly how I view them. Because Lackadaisy as well, like I would love for that to become a series. Like that was so well done, that first pilot episode that they dropped. And
Yeah,
there's
that was really
definitely
good.
other shows as well upcoming that I know are trying to, like, now that they've seen Hell of a Boss do it, they've seen Murder Drones do it, they've seen Lackadaisy do it. Like, there's loads of indie animation companies that are pushing to try and do their first pilots for things, and
Hmm.
I'd love to stick it out. They tend to do really well though as reactions. They usually do. I don't know why Murder Drones for me is underperforming because it's actually doing quite well for other people. So I don't know if it's just my particular genre of audience or what, or maybe it's my thumbnails. Probably, I don't know, but yeah.
Now, you mentioned a little bit ago you work for an entertainment company full time,
Mm-hmm.
and that is your full time job. YouTube is not your full time. How important is it for you personally to make sure? Because like you said, I've watched some of your videos. Mental health, taking care of yourself is very important to you personally. How
Mm-hmm.
important is it to make sure you have time for yourself and not be overwhelmed, overworked, with everything, and you're not collapsed on top of yourself?
See, I'm probably the worst person to ask that to because that's what I do to myself. Is I just run until I can't run anymore, which is not the right way to go about living your life. But yeah, I mean, I was like quote unquote taking time for myself, but I was going to the like that time was spent in the gym for 2 hours and meal prepping for a couple of hours, and that's still not relaxing time. So I did hit like a burnout period about, I'm going to say, about 3 4 weeks ago now. I hit like total burnout where I just, nothing was working, everything was kind of collapsing at the same time, and I was like, I can't keep holding up all these pillars. And
Eesh.
yeah, it was not a good time. And then that's when I backed off the gym a little and backed off the health eating a little bit as well, because I was like, I can't, something has to give, because I'm either going to have to start sacrificing sleep, which I was already doing because I was getting up at 4 in the morning to edit videos before work.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I know I was getting up at 4, sometimes 5 in the morning if I allowed myself a lie in, editing before work, going to work, working half 8 or 8:30 till 5 in the evening, going to the gym until like 7, coming home, getting food, sitting down, and then editing until almost 11 at night, and then getting up again to do it all over. So it was a bit much. And I definitely would not recommend that to anybody. I think going back, I would probably just stick to doing the 2 videos on my channel, even although some weeks I would get really impatient and want to do 3. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of burnout happening. So I'm like the worst person to ask, like, how do you juggle your mental health? Because I'm like, I didn't. It fell, it shattered, it was awful.
Now, also in that same sense, you have kind of like you've mentioned with, Elijah and Morgan, you guys have this support, system that you feed off one another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How has it been, discovering not just them? You also discovered Bill, love, I'm forgetting her name. Love You Play Game,
Tina. Yeah, playing with heart, Tina.
playing
Yeah.
with her. Yes. I'm sorry. I think I sorry about that. I
So
apologize.
good.
Heartfelt
Um,
apologies towards her. How important is it to how important was it to find them and just feel like, okay, I'm not alone. I found these people that kind of understand what I'm going through in life and just going trying to make the best of a say bad situation.
Yeah, I think that definitely was a bit of a saving grace because it was Morgan who kind of reached out to me first, and they were the first kind of person in that community that I started speaking to, and we kind of latched on to each other like two little lost nuggets adrift in the water. And so two of us just kind of latched on to each other, and they were a real guiding sort of star for me actually when it came to reaction content and everything, and then from them I kind of before I even met Elijah and playing with Heart and Bill and everybody, I started like a small little YouTube Discord for like small reaction channels, and you
Hmm.
know we've got Mikey Venture in that. His name is Diego, but I call him Darkrai, and it's become a running joke now. And we've got So Everdream as well, and we've recently been joined by, or we're trying like and recruit a couple others into that. And honestly, it's been so nice having a space where you can go and like see if you put up a comment that somebody's left you that drove you nuts, putting it into there, and then them all going, "Oh yeah, 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 your feelings are valid." Like we've had those comments before, we've had this before, and feeling like you're not losing your mind about things, and
Right.
it's been really good. And then when I finally sort of got put in contact with Elijah, she was amazing in the sense that like just she's got like a lot of knowledge in her and she's kind of been there and done a lot of it before, so like she's got so much expertise that she can pass on when it comes
Hmm.
to all this sort of reaction content. Like I never would have started doing the Patreon full unedited content and unless it had been for her. Like she was the one that says, you know, do it, you should do it. And Morgan a little as well was sort of encouraging that, but and now thanks to them there's a potential for me to be able to go full time with YouTube in like the next few months, so yeah.
Nice. That's great to hear. I think I've missed my invitation in that Discord feed. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
It's all good.
um, now that your second channel is flourishing, it's developing, it's growing. Do you see any similarities when you were first starting off your first channel with it, or and what's kind of the differences that you've noticed so far in your
Oh,
first year in both?
the differences are my audience is so I'm going to say so gay. They're so gay, they're so queer. Queer is the best word for it. They're so queer. This audience is queer as fuck. But like in the best way possible, because like
Hmm.
I went from having one extreme type of audience to like this audience, which is a lot more pun intended fluid.
Right.
Um, and I'm just going to use all the puns now.
Please use every
um,
pun you have in the book.
honestly, yeah, they're you know they're such a wholesome little bunch, and yeah, I think it's just the kind of content that I've been reacting to seems to sort of attract that kind of audience. But I've noticed the numbers skewed vastly. Like I've got a bit more of a not as much of a female following as I would like, but I've got a bit higher than I did on my old channel. I've got different ages. I've got just yeah, it's a much nicer environment and it's a more inclusive comment section I'm seeing as well. And it's just really nice. Like they're a colourful little rainbowy bunch. They are.
Nice. That's great to hear. And does that feel? Does that make doing YouTube more manageable, going towards one extreme, I would say, hateful group to this more open, inclusive group that you're growing, experiencing right now?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's extremists in all of varieties, and
Right.
certainly in the LGBTQ plus space there are a lot of extremists who are like do or die,
Hmm.
and some of their views I don't wholly agree with or their methods of trying to like get people on side. But I feel like my audience, my type of content that I put out, the sassy, sarcastic sense of humor that I have, where I wind people up and annoy people and poke fun at myself and other things, that kind of sense of humor attracts a very particular type of audience, and so I feel like a lot of them are very similar to me that have found my channel and my content. And so like in the Patreon server I get away with some amount of jokes that probably would get me cancelled otherwise, but
Oh, oh boy.
because they all know me, it's like,
Right.
so it's fine. But yeah, I think there are extremists in both sense. So I definitely want to say like this kind of audience that I'm branching into isn't perfect. It's just the little following that surrounded me is they're pretty special little nuggets. They really are.
And that's great to hear. Honestly, yeah. Now, being that you live in the UK, you're in Scotland. Sometimes shows don't always premiere over there
Yeah.
simultaneously as it does here for us in the States.
Hmm.
When that happens, when you're wanting to do a reaction, when you want to do or watch a show, is there any workarounds that you're trying to find? Is there any links to websites you're trying to do to trying to find the show, to find, watch it, edit it to make sure you're posting on your channel to please the algorithm? Or is it kind of you gut it out, wait till it's premiering in your side, in your state, or in your country, and you go from there?
Pirate.
Well, I couldn't
There's
hear what.
yeah. You can pirate content. You can use a VPN, but also as well, I think a lot of the content drops on YouTube, thankfully. So that means that like I can get access to it right away. So like your Hell of a Boss, your Murder Drones, your even like the Owl House when those episodes were coming out, they were dropping like on YouTube. So that was
Yeah.
very helpful. So I was
Okay.
getting them all at the same time. But I think for any other shows that come up in the future, like I am a bit nervous about things like Has Been Hotel
Hmm.
when it starts dropping because that will be in America. And I'm wondering like how fast can my dodgy websites get updated with these episodes? But
Right.
I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
I mean, we don't even know when it's gonna. They say summer 2023. We're
Summer,
we're
yeah.
already in the summer, but there's no day. I don't
Are we
know.
in
They.
summer? I thought we were still in spring, aren't we? Still in
I
spring?
mean, technically in spring. I live in Phoenix. It's hotter than. I don't want to say. I don't want to get demonetized.
Yeah, I think summer officially begins like the
In
20th of June or something.
June, yeah,
Yeah,
technically June, yeah, but it
yeah.
doesn't feel like it. I mean, just tell you, us
Yeah,
us
no, that's
Americans
fair.
are weak with our heat. I mean, just tell you.
No, that's valid. Like we are not built for heat either. I went to hospital in 24 degrees Celsius with
Oh
heat
wow.
stroke. So yeah, it's bad. Very Scottish.
Now, also when you're doing your collaborations with other YouTubers, like on your channel, you did a Never Have I Ever with Morgan and Elijah.
Yeah. One of
the
my favorite videos I've ever recorded.
the Patreon version, I imagine, is probably the better one, right?
You've no idea. The stuff I had to cut out, we got so drunk.
Oh
And
my
the
god.
stuff I had to like cut out and fast forward through on the Patreon edit was unreal.
It's a good thing you guys didn't have any four locals with you, because let me just tell you, those things can, whew,
Yeah.
that kind of drink that will get you guys going. But when you're doing those collaborations with them, and also doing the gaming with Third Bill, Lovely Gaming, and Tomato Sauce, all those guys. Does there like a you guys go to your Discord and say, hey, you guys want to do one? Do you is it like kind of like, okay, who goes to where? Is there really a kind of like a discussion among yourselves on who gets what video on what channel, or is it kind of like deliberated
I
amongst?
think, to be honest, when we approach each other, and this is from my limited experience, I've not been in this group that long, and I've only recorded or done like one sort of like one or two gaming sessions with the group. But
Hmm.
for the most part, for me, it's we game as friends first, and if we can record it in any way and put it up, then we might. But I know for a fact that Morgan is trying to step away from the gaming content on their channel because it's not been doing that well and it takes them a long time to edit. And
Mm.
that falls back onto the algorithm thing again. When you're posting videos that are totally unrelated to the topic of which you built your channel around, they're not going to do well. And so like we will usually chat to each other about like, hey, like let's get a game of like Among Us on the go or whatever. And we've played games where we've just not recorded at all. Like the first time that I gamed with Bill and Elijah and Morgan, it was actually me inviting them into my Friday night with my friends where we were a couple of
Mm.
players short of an Among Us game. And I
Okay.
was like, hey guys, do you mind if I like invite a couple of other friends? And it was like two worlds colliding because that was actually my friends that I do my podcast with. And so we invited them on and they came in and we all played together for like a good few hours and that was unrecorded. Like that was just for fun, just us behind the scenes. And then we officially did like one for Elijah's channel and I think she was the only person that recorded that. But the rest of us were just playing for fun because we're friends.
Now, were you guys aware that she was recording? Because I was watching one of the videos and we couldn't hear you guys on one of them. Were you guys aware that she was recording? Did she let you know, hey, I'm gonna be recording, post it on the channel, or did that kind of like catch you guys like, oh dang, she posted it?
Oh no, she'll always tell us. She will
Okay,
always
cool.
tell us. Yeah, she's still editing that Among Us video actually, but yeah, no, she'll always tell us.
Okay, nice. Now, like you just mentioned about a few seconds ago, you have a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's based on Bleach, correct?
Yes, it is. Yep, yep.
Now, for those who are unaware, what is Bleach? What it's a show, correct?
Oh yes, it is. It is a show. It's an anime. So in Japan, there is like the grandfather of shonen anime, which is Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z,
Hmm.
and then from there was three others that were called the Big Three, and some of them you'll probably have heard of is Naruto, One
Yep.
Piece, and Bleach is the other one.
Hmm.
And so we, like me and two other friends of mine, Nomi and Dell, as they go by on the podcast, we're all massive Bleach nerds. Bleach is an anime. It's kind of like how would you describe it? So effectively, Shinigami is like our version of Grim Reapers, and it's
Okay.
basically the show about this young boy who can see ghosts. And then there's one day like this big sort of demonic ghost sort of chases him, and then out of nowhere, this sort of Grim Reaper appears in front of him, and she can see the ghost, but she's also dead, and he can see her, and then they get attacked by the big sort of demon ghost thing, and she has to transfer her powers over to him, and then from there it's like this whole you get to learn about their world of like the governance behind the Grim Reapers and everything. And because she committed the ultimate crime of passing her powers to a human, she gets sentenced to death, and so he's got to go
Mm.
and try and infiltrate the society to try and save her. And you just find out all the politics, and then there's stuff like something isn't what it seems, and then there's somebody on the inside that's like committing murder, and it's just it's really good. It was really good show, so we got right into it. But it is a very long commitment. If you're wanting to get into it, I highly recommend looking up which episodes are filler and ignoring them, because there's like 120 filler episodes that have nothing to do with the story at all that you
Oh
can
my
take
god.
out. And then there's like 260 canon episodes, which are the good ones. Sometimes it drags out a little bit, and it definitely gets better as we go. But we waited 10 years for that show to come back. We waited 10 years for it, and now we've started getting the new season, which started airing last year and is due to continue on the 8th of June this year. So that's when our podcast will pick back up again.
Yeah, your patience is paying off. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
we,
All these
we
people that were like, we had to wait like a year or whatever between this season and this season, or this episode and this episode of Owl House and whatever. And I'm like, bitch, please. You've no idea.
I was
That's
gonna
cute.
I was gonna say, are you gonna pull that bitch, please?
Yeah, yeah, honestly. Like, we waited 10 years for Bleach to come back. Don't at me.
Now, when you're doing the podcast, was it a lot of people like to bring in multiple topics and do and be variety of it. You decided to be focused one show, and that's
Hmm.
it with your friends. Was when you were deciding to go into doing the podcast, was that something you were kind of open to in the beginning when starting it off, or did you feel like if we're doing a podcast, we gotta be more than just one show?
So we always knew that it was going to be Bleach. We
Okay.
didn't want it to be like an anime thing where we did multiple animes. The three of us only liked Bleach together. You know what I mean? So I mean, we liked other things. We did talk about doing an Arcane podcast for a little bit actually, but we
Oh,
just schedules and everything just could not marry up. But
right.
yeah, we were like heavy into Bleach together. So that was when we went in. It was my idea to start it during lockdown. I needed another project to keep me sane, and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna not interview, well, yeah, like audition people to be podcasting hosts and things, and but I already knew like what I wanted it to sound like. I already knew I had a formula in mind, so effectively we'll rewatch the entire show, all the canon episodes, and we do 2 or 3 episodes per episode of our podcast where we break them down. We
Hmm.
do it from a very fandom spin-off side, so we do like we do these award sections half like 2/3 of the way through the episode where it's like, okay, best ship, double take moments, like we give out these little stupid awards, who wrote it best, and we give them out to like the characters or certain sections of the show that we'd watched that week. And so we do like fandom spin. We always give a fandom shout out to a piece of artwork or a video or a fan fiction or something in each episode as well. So it's a very inclusive sort of space, but we've really enjoyed taking that section of Bleach and bringing it out.
And that's great to hear. And do you feel once you guys start back doing the podcast, is that going to be another kind of avenue for, again, with your personal life, mental health, just feeling more relaxed, being in a space with friends, discussing a topic that you're familiar with, you enjoy? Do you feel that's going to be something, very good for the soul to help you out?
No, because I'm one of the key editors of the show. I'm freaking out about it because I have no idea how I'm fitting it into my schedule. I'm just trying to delay thinking about it until it starts again.
Oh my God.
Actually, is it June or July it comes back? Hold on, it might be July, so I might be okay. I might still have a bit more time. Let me have a wee look. Because I might be getting it confused with the episode 5 of Murder Drones drops. Let me see. It is July the 8th.
Yep,
July. So I've
July.
got I've got a whole month. I've got longer than I was thinking. So it's fine. I could just stick my head in sand until then, and then I'll figure out my fucking schedule when I have to introduce a podcast episode every week as well. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. I'll manage.
Oh yeah, I can
It'll be
totally
fine.
tell. Yeah,
Yeah,
say it one more time.
it's fine.
There you go. Okay. Now, throughout your years, throughout the experience doing your YouTube, doing the podcast, what's kind of been some of your favorite moments, going through from, you can go from your favorite moment from your first channel, favorite moment to your second, and also some challenges you've have to not only dealt with, but kind of fought back on, whether it's copywriting for videos, editing. What's kind of been like the microcosm of all?
So for the first channel, definitely getting to meet and explore with Sean Vlogs, Aaron Dugan, and stuff like getting to meet them. That'll be a common theme actually, I think, for this
Mhm.
answer. But getting to meet those little nuggets for that was good, and we were really lucky actually. Sean and I met for the first time doing a video around Bangor, which is an abandoned mental asylum in Scotland.
Mhm.
And if you look on like Silent Hill's website and stuff, they've got pictures of some of the sections of Bangor. And it was because it was like the inspiration for like the school and the movie and everything.
Oh, okay.
Um, and Bangor is gorgeous, but that's it now being turned into a housing estate. So like we were some of our videos when we were there, and like I caught a ghost on camera and everything. Like it's like we got into the buildings, we got into the sort of abandoned asylum and stuff, and it was insane. So getting to do all that with Sean and having that on camera and having that record of the place before it's now getting like turned into something totally different. That's been really special because that was a big part of Scottish history. Um, and then into the new channel, it's getting to meet again. It's always about the people for me, but getting to meet like Morgan, Elijah, Bill, Tina, and then So Ever and Mikey and Darkrai and that. Like getting to meet all of them, and yeah, getting to build up this new audience as well has been really special too. Because with the Patreon only Discord server, like I feel like I get to know them all a little better.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and then with the podcast, it's of course again the people. It was getting to meet Nomi and Dale and getting to work with them, and yeah, for me it's always about the people. But challenges, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. The copyright thing for this channel in particular has been really challenging. And for the last channel, it was coming up with ideas. Like sometimes I would just start my Sunday off in a total ball of anxiety trying to think about what the heck am I doing this week for a video. And thankfully then I was only doing one video a week, so it wasn't as much
Right.
work, but it was a stress trying to figure out what I was doing each weekend. But with this, I've like got the content handed to me, but it's like try to find a time to edit and everything that's hard this time. But yeah, I'd say that's it.
All right. Yeah, that's great to hear. And we'll kind of wrap it up with this question here. What goals do you see, for not only for your channel but for yourself, from a year from now? Do you see it growing to a certain number, a certain, not subscriber base, but a certain view count you're aiming for your channel? What's kind of like the end game for you? Not the total end game, but what's the first step for your goal?
Well, I have said that I would like to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of this year. That's my first goal.
Hmm.
And to have as many of them engaged as possible as well. So, like right now, I've got like a really high amount of views for the number of subscribers that I have. So, my videos average like I'm going to say about 10,000 views in the week or something, and I've got like 18,000 subscribers, so that's really high engagement for my audience. Um, and yeah, so to continue to grow both of those things, not only the audience number but the engagement as well on the videos, I'd also like to bring out merch within the next year too. I've already got some designs sort of being worked on. I've got
Okay.
a design that the artist has just recently posted to me, and it is like a little pocket Hamish. So like the shirt will have like a little fake pocket with Hamish hanging out of it. I've got a couple of other ideas as well for things coming. But yeah, I would like to launch that, and yeah, and then see for everything else, just sort of see how it goes.
Nice. That's awesome. Great to hear. I can't wait to see all your work, all your progress develop throughout the years. Again, big fan of yours. I love watching your reactions to the shows,
Thank you.
especially to shows that I've already watched. But like, hey, I like that episode. I like to see her take because again, love watching your reactions to Vox Machina. That was one show I was not familiar with until last year. Watching it and then watching season two, it's amazing. And so watching it with you was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah, season two for me was where things really picked up. Like I was really impressed by some of the character
Yeah.
shifts and changes and growth in that show in season two. It was
hmm
phenomenal.
And I honestly, like, really, Scanlan was the MVP for that season.
He was, and I went in hating him, wanting him to die.
Yeah.
Episode one, he's awful. I want him to die. Why isn't he dead yet? To episode 12 being like, no, Skylar, no, somebody help him.
Oh man. But he grew
Yeah,
on you.
he did. He absolutely did.
That is great to hear. Moscow, thank you so much for joining me here today. I can't talk. I'm such a dumb American. You must think,
You're
what the
fine.
hell?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Thank you so much for joining me, Moscow. It was so fun getting to talk to you, learning so much about you, your background, how you started, all your all your triumphs, all your struggles. Thank you for being so open with me. It was such a great time.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you very much for having me on. This was a blast.
I think, yeah, it was great. Thank you so much. I hope to talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Where can people find you online if they want to follow you on your socials and your channels?
Oh yeah, so it's We Laugh Reacts on YouTube. You can find me on there. You can find me. I'm not really around on many other platforms right now. I've got a Twitter, which you can find linked on my page, or you can just search for We Laugh Reacts, and you'll find me on Twitter too. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
And that is her, guys. And I am your host, Sam Macias of the Talking Sam. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at SamMac55, Instagram at SamMacias5, Facebook at SamMacias55. Make sure to find my YouTube channel at Sam Macias, where I do other interviews with so many other people, and honestly, people that you may not even know, like Moscow, like A Morgan, like Ed Elijah, and so many just people with stories that are unfamiliar. They are not really on your wavelength. Give a watch, give a listen. They are so interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed Moscow. And until next time, bye.
Bye.